Property Club is introducing Kevin Young, Australia's most successful property investor with over 200 property investments and over 50 years property experience. Kevin Young is creating 10 times more millionaires than Oz Lotto. Introducing the founder of Property Club, Kevin Young.
G'day. I was broke at 20 and I retired at 27. To get there, I had to realise I didn't have enough money now. How was I going to get there? So I devised some forms that you'll be working your way through, and that's why we call it workshop, and that's why we call it worksheets. So you'll go step by step through these forms. You'll come out the other side and you retire a lot earlier than you thought you could. You'll be doing a lot more wealthy things than you thought you could, and that's what these sheets are there for. So enjoy doing them, and remember, ask as many questions as you want to your mentor, who's there to help you all the way through this, and free of charge. The Property Club bucket list here. We suggest you get a couple of copies of this, and everyone in the household fill out at least 10 things that they want to achieve this year, in the next 5 years, and the next 10 years, and when they retire. What you're doing now is clearly planning your future instead of wandering through life haphazardly. So take a bit of time, as many days as you want, as many hours as you want. This is a very important start to your financial plan. So now we'll go to the next form, which is how much will you have to retire on. We have an example filled out here with dollars on it. Just to the right hand side of each of those dollars, you put the ones that suit you. For example, in this sheet we've put down this person wants $100,000 a year, but if you want more or less, to the right of that, you put the figure that you want. And this will probably come from your discussions on that bucket list. Next, number of years to retire. In this case we've used 10, but you'll know how many years you want before you retire. You put that into the right. Now you've worked out how much you need in retirement and when you're going to retire. But a cup of coffee now is going to be much dearer at your retirement date. So that 100,000 in this case has to be increased, and the amount that you put in has to be increased. But how much? So get into the years that suit you. In this case we've had 10 years. Underneath that is 1.5. So we know now, in this example, we had to increase the 100,000 by 1.5 to get 150,000. In 10 years' time, we need 150,000 to buy what we can do with 100,000 today. So similarly, you'll have your figure. You'll go to the number of years that match that. Below that will be your multiplier, and you'll have your figure there. So you have a realistic aim now of just how much money you need when you retire. But now the challenge goes out. How much have you got compared to how much you need? So now we looked here, we've taken out your car, your furniture and your home. Now why is that? As it states here, these are depreciating assets. They're not money when you retire, and your home, for instance, you're going to live in it. So what have you got to get there? You want to drive your car to Cairns. How much petrol have you got in the tank? So this is a snapshot of everything. If you had to sell up today, how much you'd have. In this case, we've got $5,000 the person's got as cash in bank, shares or investments. To the right of that, put in exactly what your figures are. Next, projected superannuation. Now your super fund will give you now the figure they estimate that you'll get when you retire. Put that figure in. It's healthy to get this every year and keep track of them. And if you're like a mate of mine, every year he saw their promise amount getting less and less the closer he got to retirement. The next one down, of course, if you've already got some investment properties or shares, put that in there. What's the current net of those shares or property? Then we total up the number of assets. This is the amount of petrol in the tank to get us through to Cairns. Now here, we want to live for 25 years in retirement. We go back to the petrol in the tank. In this case it's 84, but you'd have your figure. So each of those years, out of the 84,000, we only have $3,500 to live on. And all the petrol in the tank will be gone. Clearly, that's not going to match in this case the 150,000 each and every year that they want. But what they've done, they've clearly, honestly set out now exactly what their shortfall is to their wealthy lifestyle in retirement. Now, do you know what the average person does? They start to work this out 5 years away from retirement, and then they panic. There's absolutely nothing they can do. But that's not you. You're now planning for retirement. And I was doing this from the time I was 8. So now we have to compare what we have to get. We have to get 150,000. You've got your figure, what we've got to get there, and they've got their figure. So now you've established your problem. Realistically, you've seen the problem. Now we're going to start solving that for you. Over the course of these next courses that you're going to get, you'll see how you can safely work through to a solution, as over 5,000 people by the start of 2016 have done with us. We have people from all walks of life. We've helped get to millionaire status. People who will not need a pension, a taxpayer-funded pension. So the next form is, what can you do? First of all, if you don't have wealth, you've got to use other people's money to get there. You'll be surprised at how much money we can get for you. So this is done in your own home. It's a rough example of how much we can get for you. Now remember, you in the course coming up, you'll see how we can greatly increase this safely for you. On the right hand side of our example, you put down your annual or joint income. You add any other income that's coming in from whatever sources to get a total, and now you have to multiply that. If you have a credit card or personal loans, you can only multiply by 5.75, so use your calculator. If you don't have a card or personal loan, you can multiply by more, which is 6.5. This will give you the total that a bank will lend you. But of course then we have to take away what they've already lent you or you owe them. So they might have lent, in this case, $400,000 for a home loan, which has now been whittled down to $200,000, and they might have had an investment loan of $150,000, which possibly they haven't whittled down. So in this case, we've got to take $350,000 away from what the bank would lend them as max, and we get $430,000 roughly. So you'll have your figure on the right hand side as to what you can do now to start your building blocks of life. To get to you where you want to be is wealthily retired and early retired. So all the solutions are coming up for you in the next round of courses. We have now the learning stage coming through. We'll also help you with professionals helping you with the borrowing capacity. We'll then work to a long-term plan for you, and we'll show you how to work out the proper cash flows so that you don't end up bankrupt and you don't end up like 85% of people who can't accumulate more than 1 or 2 properties for a number of reasons that you'll be able to negotiate. We'll show you how to successfully accumulate properties, as our 5,000 millionaires have, and we'll show you how you can join our Property Millionaires Club and retire wealthy and join us. So I hope you enjoyed doing those first 3 sheets, and spend a bit of time, go back and alter it if you want to. You'll use this for the rest of your life, because now you know the problems. What we're going to do over the next few sheets, these worksheets are going to show you the solutions so that you can retire early and wealthy. And if you retire early and wealthy, you'll live a long time. So see you in the next few worksheets.